back to the Horror Show. I'm Marsh Parker.
I'm Fuego here.
And I'm Cecil Laird, and we are back to give you our spoilerific thoughts on Split. And not only that, but I'm going to actually chime in on my thoughts on the movie in general, because these two MFers went ahead and saw it without me.
Sorry, not sorry.
But that's okay. I went and saw it all by my lonesome yesterday.
Eating his own bowl of popcorn.
Whatever, you enjoyed
There was no popcorn, you son of a bitch. I'm losing weight. Anyway. But I went and saw it. So first we're going to start off. I'm going to give you my brief thoughts on the movie in general, and then we're going to spoil the hell out of it. If you haven't seen Split yet and you don't want to have it ruined, do not watch this video yet.
Get out of here.
Go watch the movie. Watch our non-spoiler review to find out if you want to watch the movie. Spoilers, you do. Spoiling and the non-spoilers warning, whatever.
Are you spoiling the non-spoiler warning to the spoilers?
I'm spoiling. Wait, that's not a word. Anyway, okay, so this is what I'm going to say about Split, you guys. If you were a fan of early M. Night Shyamalan, you need to go see Split. That's as much as I'm going to say regarding that. But I will say the acting in this movie was tour de force. I thought James McAvoy was better than I've ever seen him, and the fact that he had to portray, granted, he portrayed a guy from the trailer and the posters with 23 different personalities. We only probably saw about 7 of them. But they were so well done. The acting was incredible, and no one can ever look at James McAvoy and question his abilities ever again. Not that they would have, because his Professor X was great. His character in Wanted was great. His character in all kinds of different things have been phenomenal. But he truly, truly shined in this. And luckily, this might not be the last we see of him, and we'll get to that. But the other thing I wanted to mention is, of course, Anya Taylor-Joy? Is it?
Yes, not Johnson. I effed up that name during our regular review and felt like such a tard. She was in Morgan. She was in The Witch. I mean, as we mentioned before, she's a rising star, which is pretty cool. And I gotta say,
I did not like The Witch. I did like Morgan, but
both of us.
I felt quite the creep in this movie because she was, while being detained in a bunker, very, very good-looking young girl. Like, is she 18 yet?
I'm pretty sure.
I hope so. Anyway, because they do focus on it a little bit, the sexuality. There's one of the personalities that's into
she did not come
dancing.
Sexual at all to me.
Well, you're not a guy. No?
Well, no.
Nothing to you either?
Honestly, it was
was some very...
It was her backstory.
Here's what I'm going to say.
Not
M. Night Shyamalan had some very suggestive shots. There was some shots where she woke up and the bottom half of the screen was all cleavage.
I'd say all 3 of the girls, though, because remember his thing was to have them take off their clothes and there was one. Around.
No, that's what I'm saying. The dentist character was that way, and there was. I'm gonna say whoever did the wardrobe for the young African American actress, tremendous work because Fuego knows. Anyway. Moving on from all of that, the acting, there had to be a little bit of it, Marcia, just for the guys out there.
Yeah, hey guys, what up?
Hey, they were really good. Did you see that ass?
Anyway.
No, it was just very blatantly accentuated.
It was very much so. Yeah, it was so blatant, but no less enjoyable. But anyway, the acting outside of all that silliness was tremendous. All 3 of the girls, like Marcia said in the regular review, because I watched it after I watched the movie. I didn't want to ruin it for myself, but Marcia was absolutely right. All 3 girls were phenomenal in this movie. And
1 for 3 for me. I didn't like the other 2 girls.
Really? What did you think? They were just too stereotypical?
Very stereotypical. I felt the fact that even though they tried to justify it script-wise with them, getting the, what's the word I'm looking for? Like Stockholm Syndrome, where they were going along with it at first and stuff, and then they kind of rebel.
No, that's not Stockholm Syndrome.
Okay, well, what am I thinking of where they're afraid to rebel and they're kind of going with it?
No, Stockholm Syndrome is when they fall in love with their captor kind of thing, and so they go along with it. But no, I know what you're going for, though. I know what you're going for.
The fact that they did for what seemed like common sense
but that was at
on.
The behest. Again, this is spoilers, guys, so we're gonna spoil stuff. But that was at the behest of Anya Taylor-Joy. She said, or Joy.
I know. I effed it up for everybody. I caused that ripple effect.
She tells
She's
them,
the one that
let's not go for it.
Yeah.
Because let's see what this actually is first, which to me felt like writing. That was one of the only instances where I could feel the writing, where it was like, okay, there's one girl that's standing up and doing, and this is where I was going to say she was not stereotypical.
Right.
Because one of them actually stood up and said, let's not be victims. Let's fight back.
Yeah, but that was where I felt like that was their only time acknowledging their dumb behavior.
But at least
and
they
their
acknowledged it.
and-
But at least they acknowledged it.
I guess.
Because they did not want to just, two of the girls.
Maybe
well,
one
no,
of
and
them
here's the
did.
thing. One of the girls, no. And again, I think she got it right. One of the girls wanted to fight. One of the girls wanted to assess. And one of the girls wanted to follow. And that's essentially what we had to deal with. And the assessor was the smartest. And so she convinced the other two. But I thought it was refreshing to see that one wanted to fight rather than just sit and wait. So I thought that was a new thing to add to a typical horror bunker movie, which is what this was. Mm-hmm. This was a bunker movie, which, if you guys know...
Three quarters, maybe.
Two thirds. Because, yes, they did flash back and forth to two different things.
Yeah.
One of the things was really interesting to me, which was the character that Anya played. It was her past.
Her backstory was hard to watch.
It got hard to watch. At first, I was really interested. I'm like, oh, she's going to know how to kill, and this is going to be really interesting.
I
but
caught the vibe about the uncle
really?
early on.
Maybe I just put on blinders, and I'm just like, nope, nothing's
No,
happening.
he's a creeper.
Nothing's happening.
I felt it
Nothing's
early
happening.
On. Let's be animals. Take your clothes off. And she's like
Creeposaur.
7, and it was horrible.
But yeah, with that, it was funny because I thought, oh man, is she the beast?
I thought that was going to be the twist.
Because I was like,
I thought she was going to
not.
be one of him.
I hope not.
Never even
because
crossed my mind.
that was
Really?
something that I was like,
never.
oh, is it going to be one of those twists? And then when they did that, I was like, oh no, is it really going to be that? But it really wasn't. They wanted to show that she was broken.
Well, why don't you mention the beast?
Yeah.
Fuego, why don't you tell everyone what the beast was, and then Marsha will talk about your spoiler. We'll finally get to our spoilers.
Spoilers.
There's a big spoiler, but
this is going to be more of a review discussion with spoilers in it. So
yeah. So the one thing I didn't like is that they hinted on the poster that you and I both liked so much that
you didn't like that they gave it away. Not that they did.
I didn't even read the poster.
And I had seen that poster even before they were handing it out at the advanced screening that we were at. So they're like, he has 23 personalities, if I remember the number correctly, and the 24th is about to break free and, wreak havoc and all this other stuff. So when you see that, you immediately have preconceptions in your head.
That does ruin it.
Yeah, and we did a trailer reaction which hinted nothing about that. I didn't watch any of the later trailers, though, and I'm kind of glad that I did. No. I'm glad I walked in blindly. I'd forgotten about that little trailer hook by the time I sat down to watch it, but... yeah, I just don't like when things are revealed or at least hinted at long before.
No, that does ruin it if you haven't seen the movie.
I didn't notice that at all. And so when we were watching it and the little things about with the psychiatrist talking about...
She was one of the awesomest characters. I loved her performance. I thought it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Was that she kept bringing up that, DID patients, they can change their chemical...
Dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah, they can change their, chemicals in their bodies and all these other things and these different personalities. So when the beast shows up and he literally transforms into this animal that can move like an animal, like this human moving like an animal, and the CG was so low that it felt
it was just
real.
veins, really. Yeah.
That, not even just that, his movements and him jumping up onto the subway and running and the fast running and the moving in the hallways. And then his super strength, it was mostly body.
Well,
really
I found out
awesome.
after the fact that what he was supposed to be, because what we're referring to is, that like Fuego said, there was 23 personalities, and basically 2 of these 23 personalities believed in this 24th personality. Enough to create it. Exactly. And that's what's interesting. But none of the other personalities believed in it per se, and the psychologist handling the overall patient in James McAvoy didn't believe it per se.
Well, they were almost trying to thin the numbers. They were like, there's too many split personalities here. We need more dominance. I honestly felt because they said that they were gonna...
They weren't killing off. No, they weren't killing off the personalities. They were just taking the light.
Well,
so essentially, you gotta picture it there's
they were
23 chairs.
The proceedings, though,
there's 23 chairs, and there's a microphone and a light in the middle. and any personality can step forth and take control of the light. And for the majority of Kevin's life, it was run by Barry or a couple of the non-offensive personalities, and Patricia and Dennis were relegated to the shadows.
Which is what I mean. There were obvious dominance, though, and
well, there was dominance, but they weren't trying to kill off the other personalities.
No, what they were trying to do is
really, because I'm pretty positive that there was mentioning of thinning the numbers. There was mention of I completely disagree, but that's okay.
Marcia and I didn't. Neither of us got that. No. He was talking about the numbers that they were going to thin were the impure teenage girls.
Yeah.
Like, that number was going to increase.
Well,
the Beast is going to get more victims, but no, they were never trying to kill off any of the personalities.
They were trying to kill
They were trying to just keep them
the people that
subservient.
Right.
Okay, well, maybe not kill off, but gain control and keep everybody else
well,
that's different.
low.
Okay.
It is different.
Whatever.
We both say that's different.
It is different because they were trying to gain the power, and
you didn't even see some of them, though. That means that they're in check and they are not.
No, it's because
their
they
faces.
couldn't show 23 different personalities in one single 2-hour
That's why they
feature.
showed the computer with all the different
Right.
entries.
They showed that they existed, even though we didn't have time to be
at one
experienced
point,
to them
maybe.
all.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
we'll
don't
let you
know
have
what
it for
we're
you.
arguing
Thank
about.
you.
I
We'll
don't
let
know
you
what
have
we're
it. You're
arguing
wrong, but it's
about,
okay. It happens.
I was wrong about the witch, too.
The point is, the idea is, and Marcia alluded to this, and the psychologist that Fuego liked, the person that took care of Kevin, that has a theory that split personalities, different personalities can have different traits. So one personality can be a diabetic. Another personality can be, feeble-minded. Another personality can be this, or extraordinarily strong and virtually bulletproof.
Or like Kanye West.
Oh, God. Either way, the point is, she thinks, what if this aspect of humanity is the key to unlocking superpowers or all of the mystical that we've come up with in human society.
The ability in unlocking the powers of our brain.
Right. So it's definitely an interesting theory to posit. So what happens is, at the end, James McAvoy finally does transform into the Beast. He gets bigger and his veins pop and his eyes go bloodshot and he starts to eat the girls. But that's really just part of it, and we'll get into why that's really interesting when I talk about my spoiler thing. But
what amazing physical acting, though. I mean, I know we touched upon it previously, but
and I forgot to say, part of this is what I originally was going to start with. The reason he transformed into what he transformed to, the Beast, because his lair was, he was the maintenance guy at a zoo.
Right.
So the Beast was essentially an amalgamation of all the zoo animals that he was constantly exposed to.
Like the
which
tiger.
they have spoon-fed to us at the end.
Exactly, but it's all of them. It's not just the
Yeah.
tiger or anything like that. So that's why he can do so many different
What
things.
I thought was fascinating is that the Dennis and Patricia used the
Little boy.
not that. They're using the psychiatrist's theory to create the Beast, because the Beast was just something they made up, and to gain power and control, to make it happen, he made it believable. They believed in the Beast so much it became real.
So then, do you think that it was almost like a manifest? Self-fulfilled prophecy.
I was just going to say, it's
a
literally an
better way to
example
put
of
it?
self-fulfilled
like
prophecy.
you believe something so much it becomes reality.
Yeah, so the psychiatrist almost inadvertently planted the seed within him, and then he started to believe it, and it
helped
sprouted.
it grow. Yeah,
Crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that till this
it's
talk
different
right
levels.
now.
Yeah.
So Marcia,
say
let's
Laird,
hit
all
your
the time?
spoiler, and then let's get to mine, because mine's the coolest.
Okay, so in our last review of Split, we did mention that M. Night Shyamalan came on and he did his whole thing. This is for the fans, and so that planted this thing in my head, going, okay, so what is it? What am I going to be looking for? And then I started noticing these little things that made me think of The Sixth Sense. Like when they got back from the restaurant, the dad was carrying all of these doggy bag trays that was red. And then there was a few other things to the movie that I just see these. I was looking for different red things. There was bags in the trunk that were red, and so I was like, ooh, that reminds me of The Sixth Sense. So it made me start thinking okay, is this gonna come? What else should I be looking for? How is it gonna play? How is this gonna tie in?
So a little subtle homage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Basically, at the preliminary screening that we got to see, M. Night begged people not to spoil the ending. And we were like, oh, well, he always has a twist ending, so what of it? But it was a pretty big tie-in. This guy's
But
going
it
to drop
only
the
came in
bombshell.
the very last 30 seconds of the movie.
And yet, credits to our buddy Luis Hernandez, who called it.
Yeah.
He was on-
We'll talk about that. Let him spoil it.
This is what I was super excited about. Because the movie itself, again, it was a bunker movie. And I don't cotton to bunker movies that well. I've seen too many of them, and they're all exactly the same. This one was a well-done bunker movie, but it was still, at its core, a bunker movie. So I was just like, okay, this is good. This is better than M. Night's been in a long time. That's true.
Better than The Visit, thank you.
But it only hit home in the last 30 seconds because basically what happens is James McAvoy's character gets away. Our lead actress gets away as well. So again, this is a spoiler review,
God,
so don't
and
be
then she has
pissed.
to go back there like your uncle's here to pick you up, and you're just, she looks like
Yeah, that's right.
She's groaning because she does not want to go with him.
No,
her father
and that
is
doesn't
dead.
get resolved either. Anyway,
No.
so she's living with her sexually abusive uncle, and that's weird. But what happens is James McAvoy's character gets away, and over the course of the movie, Patricia and Dennis refer to the other personalities as the Horde. And so what happens is after the stuff's been resolved, we cut to a diner where there's a reporter on a TV talking about how there's now a mass murderer at large that refers to himself as the Horde. And we don't know, we don't know much else beyond that. Police are looking into it, blah, blah, blah. And then we pan down to the diner patrons, and we hear a couple of them say, the Horde, oh, that's silly. Who calls themselves or that reminds me of that guy in the wheelchair that did all that, that brought that plane down. And what did he call himself? And then you just hear a voice say, Mr. Glass. And you see the people at the bar the diner bar look to the left, and they're like, what? And then Bruce Willis leans forward, and he's like, he called himself Mr. Glass. And so it's Bruce Willis's David character from Unbreakable talking about Samuel L. Jackson as the villain, Mr. Glass. So essentially all of Split was the origin story of David's next supervillain from Unbreakable.
Yep.
It was fucking... Oh! It was so awesome.
So now it makes you wonder, are we going to see a team up with Samuel L. Jackson and James McAvoy versus Bruce Willis?
I didn't even think team up. I thought
I
for
wanna
sure
see it.
McAvoy versus Willis because the Beast is unbreakable as well.
Yeah.
And super strong. So I'm
dude.
super excited to see
He
this
got
matchup.
shot at close range
With a
by-
shotgun.
Yeah, by
Twice.
by Anya
Four
Joy.
times, I thought.
There's once here and
Anya
once
Taylor
here.
Joy just
Yeah.
bamming and that.
She tried to hit him 2 other times.
Yeah.
Yeah, but although she didn't necessarily hit any vitals, it was more like
But
torso
it's a shotgun.
type shots.
Well, but
And
we
she's
show
a
him in the
skinny,
mirror and
tiny-
he's like, it didn't go through. Which is the thing, because one of the traits that the psychologist talks about is the skin of a rhinoceros.
Yeah.
And it's like the Beast had all of these badass traits, so it will be a formidable match with Bruce Willis. So, what did Luis say about it?
Oh, he just called that before it even happened on screen. So
Okay, so
You
after...
can call that exactly.
No, after
because it could have been Bruce Willis from Sixth Sense.
After the M. Night Shyamalan, speech, he kind of leaned over to me and he's like, oh man, I wonder if he's going to tie in his old movies. And I jokingly was like, what, they're going to have Bruce Willis in it?
Oh, you said that?
I said
I
Bruce
thought he
Willis.
said
No,
it.
he said tie
Lewis
in his other
suggested the
movies.
tie-in and she finished it.
I finished it with the Bruce
Ah.
Willis. And then that which keyed me when I saw the red signals to the movie. I was like, oh man, is it gonna really be Bruce
Did you just
Willis?
bust up laughing when he leaned forward? I can't imagine you
Well,
didn't.
no, the thing
No, I
was,
was
the
like-
musical cue tipped you guys off, if I remember.
You
I
tipped
didn't.
you guys before
I,
it tipped
I
me.
didn't recognize that. I guess Lou was the only one
Yeah.
where he was like,
He must really like
he's like,
Unbreakable.
he's like, that's the Unbreakable.
Yeah,
well,
he
actually,
does.
you didn't like Unbreakable.
I don't like
Yeah, me and
Unbreakable.
Lou think that's
I
his
love
best
that movie.
movie.
I
think it's his.
It's not
best
his best. It's his second best, but okay.
to,
I didn't
after
like
Sixth Sense.
it.
Sixth Sense for
I
sure.
don't know why. Maybe I need to rewatch it, but when I watched it, I thought it was meh.
Oh, I love Unbreakable.
Unbreakable's
Unbreakable's
amazing.
great.
Unbreakable might be his most artistically brilliant movie.
I didn't
But
like.
I
don't
think
know
Sixth
why
Sense
I
was
didn't
overall
like it because
better
I
for me.
had Bruce Willis and I had Samuel L. Jackson, my two faves.
Well, because not a lot it was a real slow burn.
Maybe.
And it was real understated for a superhero movie.
Yeah, lots of people think it was ahead of its time.
I very
You know?
much agree. I think
Yeah.
if it came out
in the superhero craze.
4
currently.
years into the Marvel superhero craze, they'd be like, that was a refreshing superhero
It'd
movie.
be up there with like Kick-Ass.
For sure. But in a completely different reason.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah,
I should
very
just
different
give it
tone.
another chance
Do
and
it.
watch it.
Do it.
but-
I
Give
think
it
you
another
should,
chance.
Marcia.
It's amazing.
It's good. It's really
You would
good.
appreciate it on a whole new level now.
I didn't watch it when it originally came out. I watched it maybe
I did, and I did
7 or
not
8
like
years
it when I
ago.
first watched it, but when I watched it again on DVD a couple of years later, I was like, it's something clicked, and I was like, oh my God, this movie's so brilliant. How did I not know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely give it another try, which is another reason why, again, Split was just kind of meh for me. Well, it wasn't meh. It was good. No, it was good for me, but the last 30 seconds just knocked it out of the park for me
Yeah.
and made it my third favorite M. Night Shyamalan
I
movie.
loved everything about that movie from start to finish.
Signs was just as good, and then the end killed it for me. Split was just as good, but the end lifted it way up for
Yeah.
me.
Big time.
That's
I love
the way I could
Signs,
say it.
too.
How about that cameo though?
The Bruce Willis one?
No. The Shyamalan cameo where he's
Fucking
talking.
mother. I know.
He's
I just
talking about- he's
squeezed
talking
my
about-
second F word out, but that's
He's
my
talking about
immediate
Hooters
reaction.
wings and stuff, and you're like, "Why are you here? What's going
Every
on?"
time he has to put himself in the movie. Why, dude? Why?
Why wouldn't you? Put
It's
in your
honestly
mind?
very Tarantino of him, but Tarantino
Yeah.
stopped putting
Tarantino
himself
doesn't
in
do it
movies,
anymore.
bro.
Yeah,
You
like,
should. I love Tarantino.
I do too.
I want to see your face.
I would much rather see Tarantino than I'd see Shyamalan in
Why?
his own movie.
Well, at least it wasn't like Lady in
Shyamalan
the Water where
doesn't
he made
add
himself.
anything in particular. He doesn't have any particular. He's just a
That's
bland
true.
personality.
I wouldn't say he has a bland personality.
He has a bland. Every
don't
character of his
know-
delivers his lines the exact same flat way.
I don't
it's him.
personally know him, so I can't say that. But
Oh, she's
at
going
least,
that route.
It's flat.
At least Quentin Tarantino, I will give you this. When he does show up, he does at least say
I would
something
like
witty.
to hear. I would
9 out of 10 times
absolutely.
he'll show up with something witty.
I would absolutely love to hear M. Night Shyamalan deliver the line, does my garage have a sign on it that says dead N-word storage? And see how that comes out. I do not think he could act nearly as well as Quentin Tarantino does.
I still prefer Quentin best in From Dusk Till Dawn, where he's the slimy, like
creepy
kind of
brother.
gecko brother.
Ugh.
That felt the most like Tarantino to me.
Oh, I love Tarantino.
We're off the rails. All right.
Anyway, guys,
Let's call it there, you guys. I think we got a hell of a long spoiler review here for Split, but I think it's definitely worth talking about and delving that much into. It's a Shyamalan movie, and it's way more worth talking about than The Visit was, in my opinion.
Amen. I mean, this is his best movie since. I mean, Unbreakable
Signs.
for me. Some people may say Signs,
I like
or
Signs, too.
I didn't like The Village, so that's.
Oh,
just
I did
me.
like The Village.
I didn't like The Village,
I liked it.
but boy,
All right.
The Happening was horrible. Ugh.
Well,
Anyway.
let us know what you guys think. Did you go see Split, and what did you think of it, if so? If not, did you just come here to see if you want to go see Split? If so, sorry?
Are you just here for the comments or the popcorn?
but
If
at
you
least
did
you know.
that, then shame on you because you really should.
You really should have experienced it, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't
There's
blame him for
still
not
time.
trusting M. Night at this point. So,
There's still
anyway,
time.
no matter what, if you're watching this point of the review, thank you very much for watching. We really
Yeah.
appreciate it. You're a diehard for sticking in this long, and we love you very much. Thank you very much. So, until the next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
Gracias, Abenjamin Fuego.
And I've been Marcia Parker. Make sure to click the link below and go to our TeePublic site where you can buy all of our cool shirts and some extra hand-selected horror shirts from different artists, which you always want to support because they're always clever and awesome and fun. Make sure you buy as many as you possibly can because you enjoy our show and you want us to succeed in life.
Hashtag clever awesome.
Exactly. All right, guys. So, until next time, remember,
Stay scared.
Like, share, subscribe.